applause, laughter, 5-star reviews. Just 3 of the things that I've never had at the Edinburgh Festival. But comedy oozes from the pores of Old Ricky, and this year there are 570 stand-ups here performing, and yet fewer than 1/5 of them are female. It's not always easy for women to be taken seriously in the testosterone-soaked world of stand-up comedy.
Ladies, sometimes we can waste all of this energy hating ourselves when we should just be concentrating on our work, like men do. Like, they're not worrying about cellulite, are they? They're too busy getting paid more in every single career where you don't have to see your clothes off. Yeah.
Though they may be outnumbered, some of the best stand-up comics are women.
Comedian just turns up and says, "Where do you want me?" And from that, we create an hour of entertainment. I think that's brilliant.
I like to think of myself as a Renaissance woman, insofar as I'm a little bit chubby and I like lying around in the nude.
Oh, we're so marvellous women. I love them. I'm getting emotional. I might start singing.
God was so angry that Eve was funnier than Adam that as a punishment, all female comedians have had to endure the pain of being edited out of TV panel shows ever since.
This year at the Edinburgh Festival, I'm here to celebrate those brilliant women and those who've gone before them. Edinburgh is the place in August to come if you want to make people laugh. You can launch your comedy career, you can unleash new material, feel the warm glow of an audience, or the horrid chill of a reviewer. Either way, you'll leave with a blood type of vodka.
Edinburgh is heaven and hell on earth in August for a comedian. I love it.
In 2006, I performed my entire Edinburgh show to one woman once. I did! Which was slightly awkward because that particular show was about 90% audience participation. Everyone calls it the bubble, and then you do all these things that make you think you're outside it. Like you go for a walk in a park or up Arthur's Sea, so you go swimming, you think, I'm in the real world, and you're absolutely not.
I don't go on holidays. I think they're for the bourgeois. I like to travel with my work. I live in London. I'm on holiday now. That's why I'm so drunk.
It's a lot of fun. You get to mix with your peer group in a way that you wouldn't because, so many people are there.
It's like a sort of holiday camp for comedians, really.
So, we got lots to look forward to tonight. I'm going to hit Lothian Road later. Are you? Gonna get me some sweet Edinburgh ass. Excuse me, you're a monkey. They're not fussy, Nina.
The Fringe offers an opportunity like no other to remortgage your home and perfect the art of stand-up.
Craft-wise, it's very useful because you're in the same room for a month doing your show every night and honing it, and you've eliminated quite a lot of the variables that normally exist within stand-up of a different room in a different crowd. You kind of go, well, it's similar crowd, same room. Let's find out what really makes this show work.
If you want to get seen, or there's a buzz about you, if you're in Edinburgh, it'll just go round to everyone, and I think that would make a huge difference to your career. But, sadly, that's only going to be a handful of comics, do you know what I mean? The rest are going to be slugging their guts out every night and come home with an enlarged liver and possibly some sort of mental health issue.
I'm going to meet 3 very different female comics all performing this year, and each one tackles the challenges of stand-up in a unique way. Canadian-born Dana Alexander is a traditional comic, drawing on her own life to craft, jokes. You're a very established, well-respected club comic. You do the circuits
all the time.
In many countries of the world. You're an international artist.
I am, yeah.
You're very good at writing jokes. And sometimes people have been quite frightened in Edinburgh of doing jokes. They need to be a little bit more alternative.
People who don't know how to write jokes want to be comics. I never understood that.
Bridget Christie is back at the festival this year following her successful Radio 4 series, Mind the Gap.
Last year was going to be my last Edinburgh show, and then I just thought it would be absolutely ridiculous to be going to Edinburgh for 7 years, playing to really small audiences, and then to get a decent Radio 4 job and then not to go again after that.
Last year's Comedy Award nominee, Claudia O'Doherty, moved to the UK in July 2012. The Australian-born comic is working on her most ambitious show yet.
I'm not much of a statistics machine, but 570-odd comics at the Fringe, less than a fifth of those are women.
Oh, really?
Why?
I don't really know why, but I think certainly once I saw other women doing it, it did make me realise that I could do it, and seeing other men do comedy didn't make me particularly think I wanted to do comedy.
With female comics selling out venues across the country, they've proved they've got just as much pulling power as the men.
And yet they are still subject to completely different standards than their male counterparts.
But it's not just the men who judge women harshly.
Women do say some odd things sometimes. Women say to you, I don't normally like female comics, which I think is a weird thing.
They think they're paying you a compliment by saying, do you know what? I don't find women funny, but I find you funny.
Oh, you know, you're my favourite female comedian. That's a nice thing to say. You would think. It's like, why are you making that distinction? Like, if of all your comedians, what you're saying is I'm probably like third or fourth. There's like 3 or 4 guys above me. But of the women, what about the black female comedian? Surely I'm your favourite. Come on.
And there's this girl at the back of the bus. Now, I'm not judging, all right? But she was white and chavvy. Now, what? That is like the only social group that black people know for definite we can look down on.
Stand-up is still very much a male-dominated world.
Some clubs have had a reluctance to put 2 women on the same bill, like they think we're going to start menstruating in sync or something and get a bit emotional, or, I don't know, start talking about shoes and forget to do the show.
I've had promoters just before I go on stage going, yeah, last one we had on got booed off within 5 seconds. Good luck.
Lots of women do this. Say to the MC, don't say she. Say the next act, don't say she. Because if you say she, and sometimes you physically hear it, people go, oh, they would just be disappointed.
And it's not just men that think that. I mean, I've seen women at gigs. I was standing behind a couple of women one night, and I can't remember who came on, Jenny or Claire or someone really funny. And these 2 women, it's the woman on now, let's go to the bar. And I felt like going, yeah, sisters, that's the sort of help we need.
Now, since I took up feminism a year ago, as a marketing device to boost my profile, lots of other people have taken it up as well, like Beyonce, who has now become our new feminist icon. And thank God she did, because we've all been flailing around a bit since Thatcher died.
The rise of female comics can be a bitter pill for some people to swallow.
Confident commanding women in any sphere can elicit vitriolic response from certain sections of the community. And female comics are often at the front line of this form of abuse.
Twitter, if you're not on it, is a really great way of people who see you at a gig to get in contact afterwards with feedback.
When I first did Mock the Week, I remember feeling, people have been a bit mean about it and people have said I wasn't very good, and now you sort of look on Twitter and every time there's a woman on Mock the Week, it's all, I hate that woman on Mock the Week, women aren't funny, and it's only a few people, but it's the same few people who are very vocal.
Once I figured out that just because someone says something horribly sexist about you is not what everyone else is thinking, because that's what it can feel like. It can feel like that's what everyone thinks, and it's not. It's just that idiot who perhaps locks his dog up in the coal shed. Why am I letting him affect my self-confidence?
I think in the old days, I'm making it sound like I'm 140. I am. In the old days, when I started, I think men did consider women easy prey, but I kind of particularly tailored my heckle put-downs to giving them the message that I wasn't, because I think it's very important. You have to be like a teacher when you're a stand-up. It's like controlling a class of naughty teenagers. But the problem is that there's like naughty drunk teenagers, so that's even worse in a way. This is I, John Sargent. Nearest, damn it. Apparently. So flattering. you'll have to heckle better than that, mate, or your face is going to be sat on.
Claudia O'Doherty is amongst a new wave of comics, blending stand-up with character-based theatre to create a sort of funny soup. On the run-up to the festival, the 29-year-old Australian previewed new material in London.
I would never go to a preview personally because I would prefer to see something when it's how people want it to be. So I find it kind of like a tricky thing to grapple with doing one because I'm like, well, this isn't right. So I feel very uncomfortable doing them.
Who am I? You must be wondering. Well, I'm an Australian entertainer in the vein of Shania Twain, and I love to entertain.
It's a real mystery show because it's going to be on this big scale in Edinburgh. It's sort of impossible to preview. So that makes it all more terrifying. But hopefully it will come together.
Welcome, everyone! Welcome!
Sharing the spotlight with temperamental technology is one battle Claudia can do without.
This is a real mind bender for our tech, but that's fine. She's been in the cave for years. Okay, that's the beginning. That's the beginning. It's fun. This is funny.
It is 4 days until my next Edinburgh, so it will. Yeah, there's a lot needs to happen between now and then.
That's meant to be a video. Oh, let's do it again. So I meant to skip across with it. Oh, okay.
Stand-up is an exhausting profession. Sometimes we're forced to work for almost 1 hour every single day, with nothing by way of sustenance other than the adoration of a crowd.
To be on stage is really a great place of freedom where you're not going to be interrupted you don't have to fight for conversation at a dinner party. That space is all yours. You get to fill it with all your opinions. I think that's quite a rare environment.
Stand-up has completely changed my life for the better. I used to be just like a regular drunk woman, and now I don't need to shout at strangers anymore. I've got amplification.
It's just a huge satisfaction. It's a physical adrenaline glow thing. It's gorgeous, and I think you're very lucky to get it.
All women have a slutty friend, and every woman here will have a slutty friend. And if you can't think who it is, then it's you.
The audience are very much part of it being comedy. Jokes aren't jokes until somebody laughs.
Will we pull the curtains and turn these lights off? Yeah.
Bridget Christie has been a regular at the Fringe since 2006. This year she's been testing out her new material on London audiences, mainly pub-based.
Some of it I've just written today, so you'll see me reading it. Other bits I'll be taking in, other stuff I know quite well. So let's all just go on a big old journey together.
It'd be quite odd to do Edinburgh without having previewed the show. You have to work it out. Good stand-up is really worked out on stage.
What I'm saying to you is that I do lots of different types of things, okay? And I mean different things to different people. So, for example, to my 2 small children, I'm an absent mother. To my husband, I'm an endless source of shame and regret. And to a deep-sea diving instructor in Thailand, I am a worst-case scenario.
At the point now where I'm nearly 42 with 2 young kids, I got to a point where I thought, my babysitter is earning more than I am for doing this gig. Is what I'm doing worth it?
Hey!
Comedy doesn't have to have a point at all, or any hidden meaning or agenda. Absolutely not. But for me, at this point in my life, I wouldn't be interested in doing something that wasn't.
Right, let's move on.
Bridget's show, A Bic for Her, moves away from the surreal humour she's known for and into territory no man would dare to venture.
I'm not the sort of feminist who thinks that feminism should be less alienating and aggressive and more welcoming and accommodating so that men can join in. I think the exact opposite of that. It's not for you, all right? You've got everything else. Keep out!
I'm a comedian, and this is what I want to talk about at the moment. I'm not trying to make feminism funny. It doesn't need to be funny. It's just that that's my job, and so I'm talking about it from that perspective.
Sorry, what was that? What did you say? Sorry, why am I so angry about silly pens for women when there are much more serious issues I could be talking about? Sorry, what? Why don't I get angry about his poor face? Why don't I get angry about domestic violence or female genital mutilation? Well, I have to hand it to you, Sarah. In 10 years of doing stand-up, I have never had a heckle like that. No, don't laugh at him, he's got a point.
Bridget tackles a wide array of subjects facing women, whereas her comedy predecessors of the 19th century were forced to keep their material confined to the bawdiness of the music hall. Mary Lloyd was one of the first women to command and captivate an audience. With her knowing wink, saucy song, she was very much like an olden-day Anne Robinson, but with slightly worse dentistry. It would be the 1970s before female stand-ups were seen on television.
It was really unusual when I was a kid to see any women at all doing stand-up.
The first funny women I remember seeing were Marcia Kane, who used to be a sort of presenter, and I was impressed by her being a sort of all singing, all dancing, comedy, funny person.
What I liked about her was she seemed so confident. Even as a child, I just thought, wow, she's really banging it to everyone, it's great.
I'm not very good with kids. When I had my first, the matron came up to me and said, "Now then, mother, would you like to change baby?" And I said, "Yes, please, I'll have a record player."
Victoria Wood was a huge influence, like the little stand-up bits of her show. I used to memorise those and then perform them for my mum and dad, slightly embarrassingly.
Excuse me, just having a bit of trouble with my playtext discontinued. Oh, no, sorry. The terrible thing's bras. I read this thing once in a magazine, and it was a test to see whether you needed to wear one or not. And the test was, if you could hold a pencil underneath. Now, she knows what I mean. And it was very depressing for me. I think I could hold a small branch of W.H. Smith under one of mine.
It would have been probably Victoria Wood and Jo Brand.
I loved Jo Brand.
She was like the only female stand-up comedian on television, and I used to love it when she was on.
Thanks. I'm just going to start actually by moving the microphone stand because you won't be able to see me otherwise, will you?
And I'm sure she got loads of criticism for it because she was a little bit man-hatey in a jokey way, and she was a little bit happy to talk about things like menstrual blood. But as a young woman, that's so exciting because no one was.
I haven't said anything about periods yet, have I? And I'm sorry, but being a female comic, it's in my contract. I have to talk about them. I think because it was called the alternative comedy circuit, people that ran the clubs were absolutely desperate to get someone different from a white middle-class bloke that had been to Oxford or Cambridge, you know. So if you were in any way different from that, if you were a woman or a black guy or whatever, they would go, "Well, please, please." So, I mean, it wasn't difficult at all, really, at the beginning. I fall into that group of women who are euphemistically labelled by the fashion industry as revolting obese lepers.
For years, female comics followed the lead of their idol Jo Brand and started their act with self-deprecating gags. And of course, it was funny, but the joke was always on them.
If you're very overweight, you might come on and be like, "Oh, we're really fat," and everyone just claps. That is so observant. But I've never really been able to do that because I've kind of got it going on.
When I first started doing comedy, I tried to do a very sort of gender neutral act, and I sort of thought, I'm not going to talk about anything sort of too womany. And then of course I kind of went on doing comedy and I went, well, I'm a woman, why shouldn't I talk about stuff that affects me, even if that is periods or whatever? I got
got the dumbest advice. Like, if you're a woman starting out, you mustn't wear any makeup and you mustn't wear short skirts because other women will get jealous of you. That is a massive insult to other women. I'm a woman. If I see another woman wearing makeup and a skirt, I don't instantly go, oh my god, my boyfriend's going to shag her.
Well, this is a terribly fancy show, you know. It's very fancy. They said, Shappy, buy a new dress. This is my new dress I bought especially for tonight. Do you like it? I've got it really... Oh, a wolf whistle. Never used to get that when I was a bloke.
You want to wear makeup? You wear makeup. You want to wear a basque? Wear a basque. Just be funny.
Dana Alexander has been doing stand-up for 13 years, but the spotlight still holds its perils.
I never used to wear makeup on stage, but I'm getting old. And those lights are bright. Very bright. Just gotta see yourself once on the wrong video. You'll take out that makeup bag. I saw a woman try to drink a lit candle once as she thought it was her drink. They let her stay after she ruined 4 people's sets. Welcome to comedy. So yes, my mom was not the typical mother. My mom came out of the closet when I was about 11 years old. She never really was in the closet. I was just 11 and had no clue what was going on. Make some noise if anybody here has gay parents. All right, let's rephrase that. I am fortunate in the sense that the market is saturated with the same demographic of straight, middle class, white males, right? So I tick all these boxes. Oh, female, all right, black, all right, foreign. So if they hire me, they don't have to hire 3 different people. I'm like a 3-for-1 in this country. It's hilarious, but keeps me working, I won't lie. But, you know, with that said, I have to be funny. And if you're not funny, you're going home. They burnt my neighborhood down in a riot 2 years ago. I'm not even joking. They actually burnt my gym down. I know. You're a victim as well. I'm a victim as well. The riots made me fat.
August is here and there's no more time for preview gigs. It's showtime at Europe's biggest arts festival. It's 11 a.m. 11 in the morning. I've never seen Edinburgh in the light before. It's very beautiful. And now I'm off to watch the fabulous Bridget Christie be funny about feminism.
I read a great thing last year about a Western female journalist travelled to Afghanistan to talk to the women there about their lives. And as you know, Afghan women are among the most oppressed women in the world. But they've made real progress in the last 10 years with women's rights and stuff. But she noticed that they were all trailing behind their husbands. So she went up to one of them and she said, hey, why after years and years of fighting and struggling, trying to change the old regimes, why are you all now happy to go back to the old customs and walk 10 paces behind your husbands again? And this Afghan woman looked the reporter straight in the eye and just said, landmines.
Much of your shows in recent years have discussed sort of feminism.
Yeah.
Is it weird for you that now it's the zeitgeist?
It's in the air, I'm telling you. I mean, there's obviously a market for it because it's surprisingly full and it's 11 o'clock in the morning every day, so people do want it. There's something in the news every day about something to do with Twitter. Yes!
Whether it's social networking sites that encourage trolling and abuse.
Yeah, it's in the air. It's in the air.
I don't have loads and loads of spare time at the moment to be able to commit to feminism in any worthwhile capacity. I only really have time to write silly jokes about it. I am to Simone de Beauvoir what horrible histories are to Simon Sharma.
So what's next for you? What's the next thing? What now? Because obviously the kids, you've got to literally rush and pick them up.
I'll pick my bag up and walk up there.
So what's something that's pick the kids up?
No, they're waiting. They've been waiting.
All right, okay, so you should go then, shouldn't you, I suppose?
Can we talk about kids?
Yes.
Can we talk about kids? One thing is that I have 2 children. And I'm a single mother. Both are with different fathers, and I'm not with either of the fathers because I do relationships very well. But
what I do find is I am bound to be more ill-prepared than my male counterparts when I go and I turned up to 8 out of 10 cats once with an Iggle Piggle sticker stuck to my leg.
My ex-boyfriend called my little boy my baggage. He's 4, he's not baggage, he's hand luggage.
I have often had people say to me, oh, of course, well, the reason that women don't do stand-up is because of the lifestyle and it's incompatible with family life. And, you know, and you do always think, well, that's as true for men as it is for women. And no one ever asks male comedians after a gig, even if they've talked about their family loads, people don't come up and say, oh, you're missing the kids, how are you doing? You know, and yet as a woman, you do get that. I used to drink loads in Edinburgh and not so much now, because having 2 small children, looking after 2 young children with a hangover is harder than being, I don't know, Charles Saatchi's PR person. It just is really...
I think Edinburgh, to some extent, if that's the sort of life you want to lead, it's kind of a single person's game. It's easier for single people, really. It's not built around families. There's not a creche in sight as far as I can remember, and there's not much support.
Performing the same show day in, day out for a month is an endurance test for any comic. Tell me about how you prepare for the lifestyle. I mean, how do you survive it? How do you survive the late nights and the drinking and the competitiveness and the banter?
Cooking really helps. A little walk of shame every now and again doesn't hurt either. But then sometimes you turn into a house cat, right? If you get a little bit the night before, you're just kind of like, yo, is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Like, you still need that fire. I found myself having to drink a Red Bull to just kind of get that fire back. But what do? Yeah, just make sure you're around good people, eating good food. Get some sleep if you can. I'm so anxious sometimes I can't even sleep. That's why I cook so much.
What are you anxious about?
Anxious about, is the reviewer going to come? Is my computer going to break? How many people are going to come into the audience? Is it going to rain? Is it going to wreck my hair? Everything. Anything.
At the Pleasance Courtyard, audiences are being drawn into Claudia O'Doherty's show by her original humour and snazzy earpiece.
That's when I went into the internet. It was amazing. I clicked all the way through the FAQs. There are nothing about sponsorship, and that's when it happened. That's when cliffhanger. I'll tell you the rest later. Okay, so you're not Claire. Are you Claire?
I wouldn't consider myself a fantastic stand-up comedian, so I'm just like, well, what can I do? And do a big silly show for an hour, which is like what I like the most anyway.
Which makes you a fantastic stand-up comedian, I think.
Let's see. We'll see about that.
2 generations after Jo Brand first trailblazed her way to the top of the stand-up ladder, female comics are ploughing their own individual path to success. They face different challenges to their male counterparts, but that hasn't stopped them from performing sold-out shows to appreciative audiences across the country.
I think it's a brilliant job. At the end of the night, it doesn't feel like you've gone to work. It feels wonderful and exciting. The social life's brilliant because you're in a pub. You've just finished work and you're already in a pub with people that you think are interesting and funny. And that's the closest I can give you to a happy ending. Thank you very much for coming.
I think you're very lucky to get applause at the end of your day's work.
Because to me, comedy is like sex. Beforehand, you're a little nervous. During, best feeling ever. And then afterwards, I get paid.
The thing that's terrifying about it is what makes it worthwhile and exciting. So it is an adrenaline rush, and it is the nearest I will ever get to an extreme sport.
I would never swap being a female stand-up for being a male stand-up, because I think, you know, the great advantages of being a female stand-up are because we're still a relative minority. If you can do it, you stand out.
I've met some amazing, funny women who are making stand-up their own, with original material and inspiring performances. So if you want to laugh, come to Edinburgh and see some of the women that I've seen. I feel humbled by how brilliant they are, but also delighted because the future of female comedy is distinctly rosy.